Let's see. That's off, that's off, that's off. That's on. That's live. All right, we're good to go. Hello, Shadowcat back. And we're doing something different today. We're just I've been putting off for a rather long time now. However, I mean, there is a time for everything, and I'm going to have to actually get around to this. So, since the anime framework is done, that was rather short. Before we get into anything else, I am going to sit down and I'm going to try to learn Pathfinder and Starfinder 2nd Edition. This has been a long time coming, and I've been a little resistant to it for a reason. I've played several different versions of Dungeons and Dragons. Wasn't there for 1st edition. I wasn't there from the beginning. However, I did start with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I hated Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, okay? If just hearing the word Thaco, okay, sends me into a blind rage that makes me want to physically assault whoever said it. All right? Now I have to be careful when I leave here today because I might kick my own ass. Anyway, though, I did not like 2nd edition. All right? It was bad. It was bad. And I understand why they did it. I understand that they were trying to make the game a little bit more interesting, a little bit more streamlined, but I understand why they did it. It was just bad. And so I played it, sure, but I didn't terribly like it. It was better than 1st edition, though. I have gone back and looked at the rules for 1st edition, and oh my goodness. 1st edition was nuts. So anyway, I played a little bit of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, but I didn't really get into playing until it was 3rd edition, specifically 3.5. And with Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, I firmly believe that Dungeons & Dragons peaked right there. And why do I say that? Well, Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 was perfect in both simplicity and complexity. The fact of the matter was, if you wanted to just throw together a couple of characters and play a game in 3rd edition, you could do that. Okay, it really was not all that hard to sit down, throw together a quick little campaign, and you could play a few hours in a dungeon, and you could have a perfectly serviceable game. You didn't have to get too complicated. You didn't have to go through every single rule that was in the book. You could put together a game and you could play. At the same time, however, especially when you got into all of the auxiliary materials and all the different errata, it was a very, very deep game. Okay, it really was. And I loved playing in 3rd edition. I spent a lot of time playing in 3rd edition. It was great. And then, when the people that I was playing with, I lost contact with them, I was kind of left on my own because I didn't own the books, okay? And I didn't have a way to get the books. Amazon didn't really exist at the time. It was still just somebody with a whole bunch of cases of books in their garage at that point. And pretty sure they didn't carry the Dungeons & Dragons books. So, didn't have access to those, so I went looking online to see what I could use, and I stumbled across this thing called Pathfinder. Now, me being a veteran of Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, I immediately looked at Pathfinder and said, well, this looks familiar. And as it turns out, the people that make Pathfinder, named Paizo, several of the people that founded Paizo worked at Wizards of the Coast and worked on Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition. So it was kind of obvious. They didn't just like copy a thing here and there. They basically say, hey, we got the system that works, but Wizards isn't giving us the flexibility that we really want to work on it. So we're going to take everything that we did working on 3rd edition, and we're going to build on it and make it better. And thus we got Pathfinder. And in my opinion, Pathfinder is in every way, shape, and form superior to Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. Which is not to say that 3.5 is bad. 3.5 is fantastic, which means that Pathfinder 1st edition is amazing. It really is. There is a reason why Dungeons & Dragons went through 3rd edition, 4th edition, and 5th edition before Pathfinder even got to number 2. So, that's where I started, and then naturally, because I love sci-fi, once I found out that they did Starfinder, and that there was an actual sci-fi tabletop game, I just instantly fell in love with that too. And so I have been playing these for years, well over a decade at this point. They're great, and I've had no reason to move on even when Pathfinder 2nd edition came out. Especially since I found that they were really trying to ape Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which I'm not a huge fan of. Not to say it's bad. It's not bad. Just not a huge fan of it. But we'll get into that later. So, anyway, before I go any further and we get into this, I already see that JP is in the chat. Hello, JP. JP brought cookies. I'm going to steal them later. Just how it's going to work. And JP just says plug. I'm getting to the plug, okay? I'm getting there. So, we're going to get into all of this. Naturally, if you're here and you haven't subscribed yet, do that. If you hit the bell icon, make sure you hit the all notifications so you get notified every time a video comes out. If you know somebody else who's also into tabletop gaming, then, share this video with them. Otherwise, if you just like me, you like what I do here, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. In particular, though, if you're going to leave a comment down below, might I make a suggestion? Join the Discord. I have one, and I've had several people that have joined lately. And we're currently trying to set up a Gene Stealer game. Now, the problem with setting up the Gene Stealer game is that I have like 5 people that are interested in it. And I'm trying to get the game started with 4 people, okay? These tabletop games, they are generally built with 4 people in mind. The problem that I'm having is, I only have 3 people. I know, I just said I have 5 people. The problem is that I have 3 people with 1 day in common. I have 3 people with another day in common. I have 1 person right now who's a complete wild card, and they're kind of off on their own. I'm hoping maybe I can get a little bit of flexibility from them, but I'm not sure. However, I need more people. I need more schedules so I can put together groups. So, if you want to play, join the Discord, come to the Behind the Screen channel, let me know what your availability is and what games you want to play. And I will try to get you in a group somewhere. Currently, we have a Friday group, Friday evening, US time. We're playing Star Trek. This game is going to be coming to an end within the next few months. And after that, I will have the Friday evening slot open. Those players are going to remain. And so anybody who wants to join a new game at that point will be able to. You can join right now if you wanted to. I can easily integrate somebody into the game. I'm really good at this kind of thing. So, if you want to play with us, please come join. Come play with us, okay? Otherwise, I have to go back to The Shining and get those creepy twins at the end of the hallway. Come play with us forever and ever. See, nobody... That was a Stephen King book. His movies are like really hit or miss. The Shining, I think it was a miss, but everyone seems to like it. I don't know, maybe I'm the weird one. Anyway, JP's in. Good to see you, JP. Blizz is in. Hello, Blizz. Good to see you here too. And without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into this. Now, the way we're going to do this today is basically the only way that I really know how to. And that is, I'm going to remake my characters. So, who's interested to see what my characters look like? Because I have built my own self-expression in tabletop form. And that's what I'm going to use as the basis here. So let me bring in the browser, because we're going to need this. And we're going to bring in my spreadsheets, which is where I keep all of my stuff. And we'll take a look at what I've got to work with so far. So we'll start with Pathfinder, because Pathfinder came first. We'll move into Starfinder later. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but it'll take as long as it takes. So anyway, this is my personal character. I am a level 12 catfolk wizard. And the interesting thing here is, why level 12? Well, it's not really not really a playing character, it's just my own personal character, so I didn't base it on XP necessarily. I based it on age, because the game actually has age ranges for every character for when you're creating them. Nobody ever really thinks about these things, but you do actually have access to all the details that you would. Height, weight, age, eye color, you know, how big are your ears, how big's your nose. All these things are actually in the book, and you can roll them randomly. Nobody ever does. Most people don't even think about that, because they're just like, well, who cares? Does it affect my character mechanically? No. Then it doesn't matter. And while that is technically true, it doesn't affect the game. These things do matter. So, I based my character's level on age, and my character's age is the same age as me. And JP says, what's her name? It's Shadowcat. Obviously. As a matter of fact, there's even a slot right there. It says Shadowcat. Go figure. So, anyway, this is my character, and this is my Pathfinder 1 spell sheet. Actually, this is my generic sheet for both Pathfinder and Starfinder, which is why it's got stamina points and resolve points on it, even though don't really use those. Not in Pathfinder, anyway. So, this is what we got to work with, and it's been good, okay? It's a perfectly serviceable sheet. But it's not going to work for what we want to do here. So, right here, I have all the rules up for Pathfinder 1st Edition, and they're great, but we're going to have to work on something different. We're going to have to go into Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, I'm not exactly thrilled with the Archive of Nethys Pathfinder 2 page. It's definitely not as clean, which I kind of expected better from them, but it is what it is. Anyway, they've got this sidebar here. We're going to be using this. They got a thing up here for character creation, so we're going to be looking into this. The character creation shows ancestries, which is a completely new topic for me. And this is why I say that I realized that they were really trying to ape 5th edition. They looked at 5th edition and they said, well, you know, 5th edition's very popular. People are playing it. Let's do what they're doing. And my problem is that, you know, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't necessarily make it good. And by that token, let's go back here for a moment. One of the problems that Pathfinder has, and this is both a curse and a blessing, is remember how that I said that when you got into Dungeons & Dragons 3rd Edition, you could actually just build a character, very basic character, and go in and have a game. It's not a problem. It's very easy. But there was also a very, very high ceiling. Pathfinder took that one step further. Because, for example, when you're playing Pathfinder, depending on your GM, depending on the rules you're going to use, you're going to get a new feat every other level or every 3 levels. I usually play every other level just because more feat is more fun. And to that end, if you come to Pathfinder 1st Edition and you go to feats, well, just looking at the headers here, General, combat stamina, achievement, alignment, armor mastery, armor style, betrayal, blood hex, called shot, combat, combination, conduit, coven, critical, damnation, esoteric, faction familiar, Gatling court title, not even sure what that one is, grit, hero points, item creation, item mastery, meditation, meta magic, monster origin, panache, performance, shield mastery, shield style, stare, story style, targeting, teamwork, trick, weapon mastery, and words of power. Each one of those is a category of feat. There are, I believe, somewhere in the order of 400 feats in Pathfinder. And when you look at this, try to look at this through the eyes of somebody who has literally never been in or never played this game before. In fact, let me just go to auto scroll here and I will just let this go as I'm talking. Motorcycles out my window. Rude. Anyway, you're a brand new player. You have literally never played a tabletop game before in your life, okay? This whole concept of dice is new to you. You're given this character sheet that's got a whole bunch of stuff that you have to fill in, and you know none of the rules. You don't know any of the races. There's like this weird die that looks like a little pyramid. You're not even sure what to do with that. You can't even pick it up off the table, okay? You can't get it. You have to like slide it off the table to pick it up before you can roll it. It's only got 4 sides. What are you doing? So anyway, your GM, you have a good GM, like me, says that don't worry, it's not that hard. They're going to help you make a character. So they're going to take this, they're going to take you through it, and they're going to help you roll the dice. They're going to help you set up your ability scores. They're going to show you what races are available and help you pick one that really suits you. They're going to go through the classes and tell you what kind of role each class has and what they do in combat, what they do out of combat. And then we're going to go through all of the other first level stuff. Your race is going to give you racial traits, and so these are the things that you're good at. Your class is going to give you class features. These are the things that you're good at. And then every single character at level 1 gets a feat. And then you show them this page. Mind you, I've been letting this auto scroll this entire time, and we're only just getting to E. Okay? We're into elementals and elves. This is not beginner friendly, okay? Because you show this to a new player, their first response is going to be absolute and utter shock, and then they're going to want to leave. Now, when Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition came out, because this was much the same in 3.5 as well. When Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition came out, they said, okay, we can't do that anymore. We need to turn Dungeons & Dragons into something that is pick up and playable. Okay? This needs to be accessible to everybody. Now, the problem is that when you do that and you make something accessible to everybody, you have to make it accessible to the lowest common denominator. Which means that, congratulations, now everybody can play, but at the same time, you have also cut off all of the tall grass, right down to the ground. They did away with feats, they did away with a lot of the class features, they did away with alignment. There are 9 alignments: lawful, good, neutral, and evil, neutral, good, neutral, and evil, and then chaotic, good, neutral, and evil. Okay, 9 alignments, and while I get that the alignments are a little esoteric and hard for some people to understand, it's not exactly a high bar, and so when they decided that they needed to go through and trim everything out, well, 4E was a failure for a reason. 5th edition got better, but not much better. They brought back a lot of things. You have all your proper feats again, and not as many of them. Not nearly as many to pick from. They brought back alignments, so that was good of them. They changed races because they said that penalties for being a certain race were bad, which means that even the people designing the game completely misunderstood the point of racial bonuses and penalties. I can't help these people. They're literally beyond education. Anyway, the point being is that they stripped a lot out, they added some back, but looking at this, because we're still only an I, these feats are not just a barrier to entry, but they're also a ceiling, and the ceiling for Pathfinder was immense, okay? If you knew, or if you were at least familiar with most of the feats that were in this list, you could create all kinds of very interesting characters. For example, one player I had was playing a sorcerer. And they were a sorcerer, they were a kineticist, or were they kineticists? I forget now. They might have been a kineticist. Either way, though, they were playing a magic caster. The thing is, though, they wanted to play a non-violent magic caster, which is great. I love it. Non-violent caster, I'm on board. The problem is, though, that if they wanted to be non-violent, they had to do non-lethal damage. And how do you do non-lethal damage with a Ray of Frost? Well, as it turns out, there's a feat for that. Okay? In fact, there is a feat for pretty much anything that you wanted to do in the game, no matter what it was. And so, having this immense list of feats meant that you had complete freedom, which you lost in 5e. In 5e, they literally have what are called archetypes, and you are expected to pick an archetype. In Pathfinder, you also have archetypes. However, when we go to classes, and I'll just pick classes, I'll pick fighter because fighter is the most basic one. You have a fighter. And what does a fighter get? They get feats, bonus combat feats. They get armor training, they get weapon training, they get all the things that you would normally get as a fighter. But there are archetypes. These were not something that you were just required to fall into, they were options. And there were many archetypes for literally every single class. The complexity gave you freedom, and you lost that when it came to 2nd edition. You lost that rather when it came to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and then Pathfinder decided they were going to copy it. Which is where we get into the whole ancestries thing. Because there used to be things like traits, but now we have ancestries. And the ancestries are kind of doing double duty. They're kind of what traits used to be. At the same time, they're also kind of what racial features used to be. So we've got ancestries, we've got backgrounds, we've got archetypes, and I mean, this is the reason why I've been very resistant to doing this, because so much of what your character is just gets spelled out for you. It takes away some of the creativity. And it's why I've been so resistant to do this. So, anyway. If we're going to do this, we're going to need to have a character sheet. And I don't really print off character sheets. I use a spreadsheet. However, character sheets do exist. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to use it. I'm going to go ahead and use each one of these as a heading for a spreadsheet. We're going to build our own character sheet together. So I've got a brand new spreadsheet right here. I'm going to make all this 12 point. I'm going to use Arial Black because it's my favorite. And we're going to get going. So now looking at the character sheet, let's just go through these one at a time. So character name, obviously. Actually, I'm going to make the first heading player. Then name. After that is going to be level and XP. After that, they have hero points. It says hero points. You gain 1 at the start of each session and when granted by the GM. Now that's kind of interesting. Hero points have always been an optional system. And they used to only be usable, or rather they were only acquired when the GM deemed that you had done something heroic. Here it's saying that you simply gain 1 at the beginning of each session, which seems a little cheap. And it's a little bit cut off and it's kind of hidden behind the chat, but it says you gain 1 at the start of each session and when granted by the GM, spend 1 to re-roll any check, spend all of them to cheat death. I mean, I love the idea of cheating death, and it's one of the things that I've always encouraged my players to do with them. But it kind of feels like we're just handing out power here. And I don't like handing out power. I like my players to earn their power. And I do feel like you need to reward your players for the things that they do. I mean, if you're not giving them generous rewards, then there is no incentive for them to put in generous effort. It should go both ways. But just handing out points, I don't like it. It tastes bad to me. But I'm not going to quibble over the rules right now. So, hero points. We're going to get that one. Next, ancestry. Now, ancestry, again, is a little cut off at the top, but it says heritage and traits. So, heritage, traits. Now, just so that I know exactly what I'm doing here, when we look at ancestries and it says heritage and traits, how many traits are we talking about here? So, ancestries. Apparently, this is what we're calling races. So we've got dwarf, elf, gnome, goblin, halfling, human, leshy, orc, Athamaru, Azarketi. There's catfolk. Great. Centaurs, fetchlings, hobgoblins. So ancestries are going to be race. And so I'm just going to take a look at catfolk here, because obviously that's what I'm going to be using. And see, again, this is something that I have mixed feelings on this. So, looking at it, it says, catfolk are highly social, feline humanoids prone to curiosity and wandering, curious and gregarious wanderers. Catfolk combine the features of felines and humanoids of both appearance and temperament. They enjoy learning things, new things. Yeah, okay. Quick as their reflexes are, they have quick tempers, shifting from effuse glee to abbreviated fury in an instant. Like mundane felines, they involuntarily purr when pleased, growl when surprised or angry. If you want a character who is curious, brave, or friendly, or nimble in a body and mind, you should play catfolk. I disagree with this wording. Although, maybe that's because I feel like it's stepping a little bit too much on the GM's toes, and maybe it's because it's coming out and it's being a little bit too instructional, I suppose. If you want a character who is curious, brave, friendly, and nimble in body and mind, you should play a catfolk. I would never phrase it that way. I would rather ask my player, what is it you want to do? And then I would give them an array of options that suits what their choices would be. But it says, like, down here, you might demonstrate genuine interest by asking a lot of enthusiastic questions, avoid interpersonal conflict by giving somebody the cold shoulder, or by simply leaving the area. Okay, that is true, but that's also true of many other characters. I don't like the way this is set up. And 5e started this. Okay, 5e started this. And JP says, LOL, is this not quibbling? It might be a little bit. Physical description. They walk upright, they have soft fur, tail, large ears, vertical pupils. Yes, yes, yes. Society beliefs. Now, the society and beliefs I have no problem with. I think that's perfect. So, physical description as well. Names. Okay, catfolk mechanics. They get 8 hit points, medium size, speed 25. That's interesting, actually. Are catfolk slow, or did we change the default? Hold on. I'm going to go back and look at humans. What's human speed? Looking at humans. I mean, they're humans. If you want a character who can be just about anything, you should play human. That is a fucking awful sentence. Pardon my language. That is an awful sentence. Because every character can be anything, and I have tried to emphasize that in all of my games. I mean, do you want to play an orc wizard? Do it. Do you want to play a gnome barbarian? Do it. Every character can play every class, and every character can be good at playing those classes. Like, if you want to play a gnome barbarian, let's be honest with you. You want to play a gnome barbarian. Like, the first thing that's going to happen is, I believe gnomes take a penalty on, or at least they used to take a penalty on their strength. Does that mean that your gnome cannot be a barbarian? No, it just means that if you roll an 18, it means that your gnome is going to cap at 16. Now, what does 16 mean? Hold on, I don't have my other Pathfinder page up here. Give me just a second to pull that up, because I'm using the Archive of Nethys for this. D20 PFSRD. Here we go. Let me bring this in. Okay. Basics and ability scores. Bliss says that humans are usually the jack of all trades, but all heritages can do everything. Yeah, I mean, that's the point that I want to get into here. As soon as I get my tabs worked out again. Ability scores. We've been on this one a lot lately. But, strength. So, most characters will cap out at a strength of 18, which means that they can carry up to 100 pounds as a light load, they can carry up to 300 pounds as a heavy load, and then they can lift twice that and push-pull 4 or 5 times. I think it's 5 times that. If you make a barbarian gnome and you roll an 18, that means that you are going to take a -2 penalty to your strength. You'll cap at 16. Capping at 16 still means that you have a 75-pound light load. You can carry up to 230 pounds as a goddamn gnome. Okay? You're 3 feet tall. You can lift 460 pounds and push or pull half a ton. There is absolutely no barrier to entry for any race. There are, of course, certain minimums that you might need for a certain race. But you know what? I have never been one to tell somebody no if they wanted to play a bad character. Do you want to play a character who's got, like, no strength, but you want to be a barbarian still? Okay, it's a little weird. Why are you doing this? Okay, so you didn't put your points into strength, you instead put your points into dexterity. So now, you are not a strength barbarian, you're this untouchable whirlwind of rage on the battlefield. You might not necessarily hit hard, but since nobody can stop you, it works. In saying this, the subtext here implies that every single other race has a lane, and they should stick to it. I don't like it. Anyway. Oh, wait, I was supposed to look at the speed on that, and then I got completely tangented by one sentence. Human speed. Hit points 8, size medium, speed 25 feet. Okay, so I guess we dropped our base speed to 25 feet. Which is not terrible. It's not the worst. It's just a game change. I don't think it's a bad thing. It does mean that overland speed is probably going to be reduced to about 2.5 miles per hour, which is weird. But if you simply adjust the measurements on Roll20, then it's not a big deal. And you can do the same thing on your maps. It just means that if you have like a world map, you just measure every square as 2.5 miles instead of 3 miles. Not a problem. Attribute boosts. They get a bonus to dexterity, charisma, and a free one, apparently. Okay. Right, because I think they did away with penalties in general. Which, again, I disagree with. I had no problem with penalties on characters because I understood what penalties meant. Hello, PC. Good to see you here. You may have come into rant morning because I seem to be ranting more than I'm actually doing building. Anyway, when you had penalties for a character, it did not mean that you were bad at those things. It just meant that you were less good. Okay? And less good does not mean not good, okay? I don't know why I have to actually put this in here, but less good does not equal not good. Okay? I don't know why this is so difficult. Again, gnome barbarian can be done. Can be done well. And I'm not sure if the people who did the designing didn't understand this concept, or maybe they did, but they just assumed that their players would not understand it because players in the past have not understood that. And if it's the latter, the solution to this is not lowering the floor, it's elevating the players, okay? Don't lower your standards, help people up to those standards. Now, I see that they did give an attribute flaw, so maybe they did seem to keep it? I don't know. I don't even know what flaw necessarily means here, because usually it's a +2, but this is just... I don't necessarily know what they're doing here. We're going to get to this. Languages, Amrun, common, additional languages equal to your intelligence modifier, and then choose from Draconic, Elven... What, Draconic? Wow. Draconic used to be a secret language. Draconic, Elven, Gnomish, Goblin, Halfling, Iruxi, Jotun, Fey, and any other languages to which you have access, such as the languages prevalent to your region. Low light vision. You can see in dim light as if it were bright light, and you ignore the concealed condition due to dim light. And land on your feet. When you fall, you take only half the normal damage to you and don't land prone. Alright, so, looking at this, Ancestry seems to be the overarching thing, so that'll just be like a header. Heritage is going to be the race, and then traits will be the stuff that goes under it. So if I were going to be doing this, player is going to be Shadowcat, name will be Shadowcat, level 12, experience points. We don't need no experience points. Hero points. All of them. Alright, Ancestry is just the header, so Heritage will be Cat Folk. And then Traits. The traits, I assume, are going to be the low light vision and the land on your feet, because everything else already really has a spot. So, low light vision and land on your feet. Alright, what's next on the sheet? So we got our ancestry, heritage and traits, and then size. So size, medium. Which is good. I'll take medium over fat. Okay, next is going to be background. And background just comes with notes. So let's take a look at what backgrounds are. So backgrounds at the first level, when you create your character, you gain a background of your choice. This decision is permanent. You cannot change it at later levels. Each background listed here grants 2 ability boosts, a skill feat, and a trained proficiency trained proficiency rank in 2 skills, one of which is a lore skill. If you gain the trained proficiency rank in a skill from your background, then you would gain the trained proficiency rank in the same skill, your class at the first level. Instead, you become trained in another skill of your choice. That's something else that I'm going to have to get a little bit used to because I still do not fully understand it. In first edition, because it is based off of Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, you have a list of skills and you get skill ranks. You get a number of skill ranks up to your level. Although, I mean, you don't have to necessarily maximize them. You can distribute them however you like. You get a bonus for it being a class skill if you put a point in it, and then you get a bonus from your ability scores. 2nd edition doesn't do that. So 2nd edition instead has levels. If I remember these correctly, they are trained, expert, master, and legendary. And I believe that each one of them is a +2, but I don't necessarily remember. I've only had a very brief look at this before, and I don't remember everything. However, when we look at the armor proficiencies, we have the same thing for the armor proficiencies: unarmored, light, medium, and heavy. Both have trained, expert, master, and legendary. Fortitude saves, same thing: trained, expert, master, and legendary. Everything uses this same system. Which means I better figure it out really quick, honestly. The same thing goes for weapon proficiencies. And yeah. Anyway, so background and notes. Now, there are a lot of backgrounds here. There's general backgrounds, legacy backgrounds, and regional backgrounds, and there's just a whole list of them. They're kind of cut off. Here, I should move this down a little bit. I'm going to lose space in my spreadsheet, but right there should be pretty good. And I'll just drag this. Nope, I'm dragging myself down. There we go. No, this one. Okay, we'll try this for a little bit and see how this works. Okay, so general backgrounds, legacy backgrounds, regional backgrounds, and there's a bunch of them, and it's one of these things that I think I would have to actually read through all of them to really determine which one best fits me. As far as general backgrounds, though, Abomination Vaults doesn't sound like me. Age of Ashes, no. Bloodlords, no. Crown of the Kobold King? I don't think so. What are these? Fists of the Ruby. Phoenix? How are these general backgrounds? See, again, this is one of the reasons why I don't like this kind of things. They are literally trying to shove you into some kind of box here. Pathfinder Society. Let's look at that one. That sounds, relatively normal, maybe. These backgrounds are specific to adventures listed below. May contain spoilers for those. Okay, never mind. Wait, is each one of these a collection? Okay, Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. Let's close that. Wait, no, I didn't want to do that. I just want to... Oh no, apparently each one of these headers is a collection of different backgrounds. Wow, that's a lot of them. It is really a lot of them. I really have no idea. So I guess you need to pick some kind of category that would fit you. And I don't know. Legacy backgrounds? Well, maybe if we go back to general backgrounds here, we'll take a look. There's a lot of them, but let's take a quick look. So I guess maybe these are all specialty backgrounds that we have options to if you want to be part of a certain setting. Maybe what we're just looking for is down here. So we got Academy Dropout, Acolyte, Acrobat, Acupuncturist, for those people who like to stab small animals. Aeronaut, an Outlaw, Sorner, Alloy Smith, Amnesiac, Animal Whisperer, Anti-Magical. I'm playing a wizard. Anti-Thune, Archaeologist, Artisan, Artist, Awful Scab, Bandit, Barber, Battle Mechanic, Bookkeeper. So it seems like this is... You know what this sounds like to me? Hold on. Is profession still a thing? No, profession is not a thing. They got rid of it. Skills: acrobatics, arcana, athletics, crafting, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, lore instead of knowledge. Medicine, nature, occultism, performance, religion, society, stealth, survival, and thievery. This sounds a lot like profession. This is whatever you were doing before you became an adventurer. Okay, that's a little bit interesting. I guess I can kind of understand it, because I will be honest, a lot of people that I've played with over the years, in fact, I would dare say almost all of them, had absolutely no idea what to do with profession to begin with. All they knew is that profession was a way to make money. And even then, not that much money. I usually explained it to people in this way. Everybody needs a craft and everybody needs a profession when they make their character. Your crafting is your hobby. What do you do with your free time? And your profession is how you feed yourself. Okay? Everybody has to eat. How are you putting food on the table? Circuit judge, clockwork researcher, yeah, these are all professions. They've just turned them into a different system and removed them from the skills. Load remaining 177. Holy crap. Cultist, Dauntless, Deputy. My character is a wizard and honestly was sent to be a wizard by the village when their aptitude was discovered. So before they were a wizard, they were essentially just a child. I'm not exactly sure which one that would be. I mean, was there just child? Let's go back up and look. Chosen one, charlatan, child of the Twin Village. I have no idea what the Twin Village is, but sure, I guess. I wonder if there's one that just says student. Let's go down and look. Returned, royalty, scholar, scout. Oh, and Blizz has to leave. Well, I'm sorry to see you go, but I was glad to have you here. So, hope to see you next week for the stream, because I'm probably going to spend all this one on Pathfinder. apparently. I hope to see you next time, and until then, take care. Alright, Seer of the Dead, Servant, Sheriff, Skyrider. Sounds fun. PC says, took penalty instead, ate without table. Look, I built a table. It's not my fault nobody used it. Let's see. Spotter, Squire, Street Urchin, Student of Magic. There we go. Look at there. Currently enrolled in a school of magic where you're learning the fundamentals of your magical tradition, whether the adventure occurs. Yes, there we go. Perfect. So as far as the notes go, how many notes are we going to need for this? It looks like, we get Recognize Spell as a feat. So that's going to go under the notes. We get Academia Lore, we get a bonus to our intelligence and our wisdom. So I guess I'm going to just kind of make a note for the intelligence, wisdom, and the Academia Lore, and then as far as the notes go, so background is going to be Student of Magic. Notes. Recognize Spell. And that really seems to be about all I need to do right now. We can take a closer look at it, though. It says, choose two attribute boosts. One of them must be intelligence or wisdom, and the other is free. Interesting. So it's not necessarily both of them. It's one or the other, or both. And then trained in your choice of Arcana, Nature, Occultism, or Religion, and the Academia Lore skill. You also gain the Recognize Spell skill feat. Alright, so we'll keep that in mind. As a matter of fact, I should probably just duplicate this tab so we can keep this up. And I should probably do the same thing for the catfolk, because we'll need to reference this again later. So duplicate tab. There we go. All right. So that takes care of the background and notes, and then we need to get into the class. And it says class notes. So class, which is funny because I always thought I didn't have any class. That's a joke. Alright, classes. And we skipped right over archetypes. Maybe we'll get back to that. Classes. They have a bunch of them. Alchemist, Animist, Barbarian, Bard, Champion, Cleric, Commander, Druid, Exemplar, Fighter, Guardian, Gunslinger, Inventor, Investigator, Kineticist, Magus, Monk, Oracle, Psychic, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Summoner, Swashbuckler, Thaumaturge, Witch, and Wizard. Some of those I know, some of those I don't. However, I have a feeling that some of the names may have just changed. For example, I don't see Paladin, but I do see Exemplar. And if I look at the Exemplar, as the war god died, his power reigned through the many planes of creation, sparking conflict and instilling the divine energy in those previously without it. Whether you were directly touched by this power, claimed by it, or claimed it from an ancient being or artifact, or whether it awoke something long dormant in your lineage, the spark of the divine now blazes in your soul, granting you abilities, sacred weapons, and divine signifiers. This is a paladin. It's a paladin without God. Trained in simple weapons, trained in martial, trained in unarmed, trained in religion, trained in perception. Yeah, trained in a lot of things. And if we look at what it gets as class features, ancestry and background, obviously all those things, divine spark and icons, an exemplar feat, humble strikes, and shield block. Exemplar feat, skill feat, general feat, root, epithet, skill increase, exemplar feats. Actually, you know what? Did I see? Okay, they do have clerics still. Yeah, I think this is basically just their version of the paladin, just less paladin-y. JP says thaumaturge. And yeah, apparently they have it. The world's full of inexplicable ancient magic, dead gods, and even stranger things. In response, you scavenged the best parts of every magical tradition and built up a collection of esoterica. A broken holy relic here, sprig of mistletoe there, that you can use to best any creature by exploiting their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. The mystic implement you carry is both badge and weapon. It is symbolic weight, helping you bargain with and subdue the supernatural. Every path to power has restrictions and costs, but you turn them all to your advantage. You're a thaumaturge, and you work wonders. I'm not even necessarily sure what that ties back to. Interesting, so it's like an archaeological wizard. Weird, but I dig it. I dig it. Anyway, let's get to my class, because I play wizard. I love summoner, but I play wizard. Mostly because I had wizard before I was before I had summoner, and yeah. Okay, so wizards. Obviously, did I mark that down already? Class wizard. It's wizard time. Alright. Role-playing the wizard. I don't need you to tell me how to role-play a wizard. Why are you telling me how to... Why are you telling people how to run their characters? Let them figure it out, okay? And don't box them into just playing one thing. And JP says, Archaeo-wizardry sounds fun. It does sound interesting. I mean, it's got kind of a Wheel of Time feel to it. I mean, if nobody else has read The Wheel of Time, The Wheel of Time takes place a long time after the breaking of the world. And the breaking of the world is what happens in the very first book. During the Age of Legends, there was a big war, and the male half of all the channelers went mad and literally rearranged the continents of the planet. This took us from the futuristic Age of Legends back to the Dark Ages, quite literally in every sense of the word. So many things and so much knowledge was lost to time that in the Wheel of Time, they have these things called Angreal. And Angreal are... Well, okay. Angreal and Sa-Angreal only really do one thing, and that is that they are essentially a power booster. They allow you to channel more power than you normally would without killing yourself. But then there are these things called Tur-Angreal. And Tur-Angreal are tools. Some of them work if you channel power through them, some of them work if you channel power around them, and some of them do not even require you to channel anything at all and will work even if you're not a channeler. The problem is that by the time of the books, so much knowledge has been lost that even the people in the White Tower, who are the ones who specialize in this kind of thing, really have no idea what a lot of the stuff does. And as a matter of fact, they use some of them without realizing exactly what it is they do, and they have even developed entire ceremonies around using some of these things the wrong way, as it turns out. So it's an interesting concept that I've seen in other places. It could be it could be a really cool character. PC says, as a hairy wizard, do you knock things off the table and then levitate them back up to do it again? No, I can knock things off the table from across the room now. And on the floor is where they belong. Hence why I knocked them off in the first place. Okay, during social encounters, again, why do you have to tell people this? I mean, am I out of line here? Tell me if I'm out of line. But if you cannot grasp these basic ideas, I don't feel like you should be playing the game. Okay, I do not feel like if you cannot figure this part out on your own, you probably should not be playing the game. Again, I don't like this idea of lowering the bar just so you can get more people in. I think that you should be raising people up to the bar so that they can actually enjoy it. Because you know what you're going to get with this? You are going to get people that are literally going to say, during social encounters, you provide a well of knowledge about arcane matters and solve arguments with logic. Great, so now your entire character during social encounters has been boiled down to a know-it-all who talks about magic and argues with people. That's not what you're limited to, though. But if you put it down here in text, people are going to be limited to it. This is not helping anybody. And PC says beginners might need in some initial guidelines. That's what the GM is for. And if the GM can't do that, then the GM doesn't deserve or doesn't belong running the game. I mean, I can understand why they put it in here. I can understand why they did it. I just don't agree with it. And I mean, you might have an unquenchable intellectual curiosity about how everything in the world around you works, magic in particular. Okay, fair, but if you picked Wizard, I would kind of hope that you would have that by default, just as a player. Look for ways to apply the teachings of your school to any situation, seeing problems through the lens of the spells you devoted your life to learning. Okay. So, are you going to give me a detailed explanation of what each school is and the philosophical ideology of each type of magic? Because otherwise, how am I supposed to do that? Use esoteric jargon and technical terms to precisely describe the minutiae of magical effects, even though the difference is probably lost on other people. So in other words, technobabble the game. Don't get me wrong, technobabble has a place in time, but like, should that really be a defining character trait? I mean, I guess it could be. Maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on that one. If you wanted part of your character to be technobabble, then sure, I guess. I suppose. I feel like this shouldn't be done. Initial proficiencies. This is fine. Trained in perception. Is anybody not trained in perception? Like, if a wizard who has their nose in a book most of the time is trained in perception, everybody is. Trained in fortitude, trained in reflex, expert in will. Okay, so I guess if these... Again, I gotta look up exactly how these work. I guess trained is like a +2, which means that expert be a +4. Sure. Trained in arcana. Trained in a number of additional skills equal to 2 plus your intelligence modifier. Again, we're just doing trained for all of these things. Trained, expert, master, and legendary. Trained in simple weapons and unarmed attacks. Untrained in all armor. Trained in unarmored defense, though. That's kind of weird. Because unarmored defense used to be the realm of barbarians and monks. That was kind of the trade-off. You wanted to play a wizard. It's like, congratulations. You're basically standing out there naked. You got spells, though. Trained in wizard class DC. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Spells. Trained in the spell attack modifier. Again, what does that mean? And trained in spell DC, and then class features. So ancestry and background, we've already got those, obviously. Attribute boost, initial proficiencies, wizard spellcasting, arcane thesis, arcane school, and arcane bond. That is going to be a lot. Looking at the character sheet that we have here, though, we've got class and class notes. There is no way that we're putting all the class features in class notes. Where would those go? Okay, so on the first supplementary sheet, we've got ancestry and heritage abilities, ancestry feat, and background skill feat, and then class feats and class features. So, all done by level. Okay. So then we may want to just go through and do the same thing that they've done here. So when we look at our own character sheet, I had the heritage here, and then I had the catfolk with the low light vision land on your feet. I had the background, and then the background notes. But that seems like it all goes right here. Okay, that's fine. We can move these things over later. We don't need to get hung up on them now. Just class and class notes. I guess that class and class notes... Notes would be something like an archetype or maybe the school. I don't know. Well, let's take a look at the wizard a little bit more. So... Arcane thesis, arcane school, arcane bond. Well, I'm going to have to pick a school. But I expected that. My school is going to be illusion. Arcane school, they know or have the knowledge to do an educational institution such as the Arcanamirium or the Magambaya. At the first level, you choose your arcane school, which grants you magical abilities. Yeah. And if I click on this, arcane schools. Wow. No, it's nothing like what I expected. Red Mantis Magic School. The School of the Ars Grammatica. School of Battle Magic. School of Civic Wizardry. School of Gates. The School of Calistrade. School of Magical Technologies. Mentalism. Protean Form. Rooted Wisdom. Thessalonian Rune Magic, Boundary, Reclamation, Unified Magical Theory. What the hell? So, I mean, it's very similar, but at the same time, very different. Again, if we come back to 1, I go to the wizard, and I look at schools, and I just look at illusion. So, it's doing roughly the same thing. So, for the school of illusion, you get extended illusions. So, any illusion with the duration of concentration lasts an additional rounds equal to half my level after I stop concentrating. And at the level 20, I can make one illusion spell with the duration of concentration become permanent, which is fun. Also, at level 1, I get a blinding ray and invisibility field there. But it does not give specific spells per level. It just gives an additional spell slot per level that I can fill on my own. Here, though, the curriculum, as they're putting it, you get Fleet Step, Illusory Disguise, and Sure Strike. Invisibility, mist, paralyze, clairaudience, clairvoyance, translocate. Weird. You do still pick your own spells, don't you? Spell book. Here we go. Every arcane spell is written. Hold on, no. Okay, here we go. Through dedicated study and practice, you construct spells with academic rigor by shaping arcane magic. You're a spellcaster. You can cast spells with arcane tradition using the cast a spell activity. Well, how very special. When you cast spells, your incantations are likely to specify exactly what forces you to call on and how to shape them, and your gestures precisely shape and direct your magic, while circles of arcane runes flare to life. At the first level, you can prepare up to two first rank spells and 5 cantrips each morning from the spells in your spell book. So cantrips are no longer infinite, which kind of begs the question if then we're back to using Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition rules again there. Because Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition also limited the number of cantrips, which is why when a wizard ran out of spells, they were absolutely useless. Pathfinder fixed that by saying, you know what? You might be reduced to Ray of Frost, but at least you can cast Ray of Frost all day. Now, once you run out of spells, you're done. Maybe they compensated for this somehow. As you increase in level, the number of spells you prepare each day increases. Yes. What about my spells known, though? So, okay. Every time you gain a level, you get to add 2 arcane spells to your spell book of any spell rank for which you have spell slots chosen from the common spells of your tradition or others you gain access to. You can also add spells to your spell book with the Learn a Spell activity when you gain spell slots. So, chosen from the common spells of your tradition that you have access to. I don't exactly know what that means. What tradition are they necessarily talking about, or do they just mean arcane in general? I don't know. That's going to be weird to go through. Okay, well, we got Wizard written down. As far as the class notes go, I guess we'll figure it out in time. All right, moving on then. So the next things on the sheet are going to be the attributes. So strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And those are pretty those are pretty standard. I'm not too worried about those. PC says, I cast iron. You don't have any more spell. Frying pan to the face. Clang. I should have that pulled up just for every time you mention it. I mean, I don't. I wonder if I could. Give me just a second. Sure, we could take a little bit of a break here. It's like a 5-second break. There we go. I don't want to remix anything. I just want to play it. The only problem is that, like, shorts have autoplay on them, and I wish they didn't. But here we go. Here we go.
Oh, you ugly anyways. Oh, is that how it's gonna be, Jeremy?
I cast iron!
You cast iron what?
It's funny. I love it. Okay. So, attributes are going to have scores, I suppose. I'm not even sure at this point. Partial boost, I have no idea what partial boost even means. So, I guess we're going to learn here. Nope, back to here. So that's attributes. Defenses. Armor class plus shield, hardness, max HP. BT, I'm not even sure what BT means. And then current HP, armor proficiencies are going to go here. And PC just says, it's hilarious. I even like the guy at the end who's like, it's such an infectious little laugh. Armor class plus shield, it's 10 plus your dex plus your proficiency plus your item. See, again, and this is where the proficiency stuff is going to come in. Because again, all this stuff has proficiencies, and I don't know what they are. Let me just see if I can pull this up on my phone real quick. Pathfinder 2E. Proficiency. Okay, so it says here, proficiency is a system that measures a character's aptitude to a specific task or quality, and it has 5 ranks. Untrained, trained, expert, master, and legendary. Proficiency grants you a bonus that is added when determining the following modifiers and statistics: AC, attack rolls, perception, saving throws, skills, and the effectiveness of spells. If you are untrained, your proficiency is 0. If you are trained, expert, master, or legendary, your proficiency bonus equals your level plus 2, 4, 6, or 8, respectively. So, I mean, do you even have to, like, buy armor anymore? Like, do you buy armor, or do you just get a proficiency and it assumes that you're wearing it? Because that would be weird. Equipment. Adventuring gear. Wait, no, hold on. Go back. Equipment. Armor. No, you still buy armor. I mean, look at that. You buy armor. Armor category, armor class bonus, dex caps, check penalties. Yeah, this is all the same. So then, why do you get a proficiency bonus on top of your armor class bonus on top of your dexterity bonus? I don't understand it. It seems like it's becoming more overcomplicated for honestly no reason. I mean, am I missing something here? I don't get it. I don't understand. And I'm kind of feeling dumb here for not understanding. Classes, going back to wizard. No, I don't want arcane skill, I just want wizard details here. Initial proficiencies, defenses. I'm untrained in all armor, which is understandable because I'm a wizard. Hold on a second. Let me check something. I'm gonna duplicate this page because I want to go back. Equipment, armor. So the armor has check penalties. I wonder if that also applies to spell casting. Let's see. You can prepare, yes. Some of your spells require you to attempt a spell attack to see how effective they are, or to have your enemies roll against spell DC. Since your key attribute is intelligence, your spell attack modifier and spell DC use your intelligence modifier. Heightened spells, that's an option. Cantrips. You can cast a cantrip at will any number of times per day. Did I misunderstand that? You can cast a cantrip at will any number of times per day. Okay, so you're only allowed to have 5 cantrips available. Or you're only allowed to know 5 cantrips. It used to be that you knew all of them. Now I guess they make you pick. That's fine. That's fine. For example, first level, your cantrips are first rank spells. The 5th level wizard, your cantrips are now 3rd rank spells. Okay. That's kind of weird, but okay. Alright, so that's fine. You know what I'm not noticing here, though? Normally, it would say that you cannot cast spells while you're in armor. I'm not seeing that here. Defensive robes. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, there's nothing here that says that you cannot cast spells in armor. Which it used to. If I go back here. Let's tab through here a little bit. If I get out of the side panel. Okay, weapon and armor proficiencies. Obviously, wizards are proficient with clubs, daggers, heavy crossbows, light crossbows, quarterstaff, but with no armor or shields. They can add the magic abilities. Yeah, okay. Arcane spells and armor. Here we go. Armor restricts the complicated gestures required while casting any spell that has a somatic component. The armor and shield description lists the arcane spell failure chance for different armors and shields. If a spell does not have somatic components, an arcane spellcaster can cast it with no arcane spell failure chance. But what I'm noticing is that spell failure chance is gone. I'm looking at this and there's no spell failure chance. There's a speed penalty, check penalty, strength requirement. Which means that, I guess, a wizard could wear heavy armor if they wanted to. I guess the proficiency is helping to offset that, because if you are trained in unarmored, which it says that you are, trained in fortitude, trained, defenses, trained in unarmored defense. Yeah, there we go. That automatically gives you a +2. So again, looking at the character sheet, 10 plus dexterity. Okay. Plus proficiency. If you're trained, that's a +2. So you could wear any armor that has a +2, or you could wear nothing, I guess. But then that's weird. Does the proficiency only count if you're wearing the armor? Because otherwise, I don't see, or I don't entirely understand how this is going to work. I have to assume, logically speaking, that the proficiency can only apply while you're wearing it, because otherwise, if you're a fighter and you're trained in every type of armor, well, you're not going to add all those up, right? Or maybe you do? I'm not even positive anymore. And then plus an item. What item? Is the item going to be your armor? Is that what we're counting? I don't know. This is not written out well. Okay. Okay. Let's just work on filling this out then. So we've got those. Armor class. So obviously the armor class can be base 10. And then we're going to get a bonus from dexterity. We already have dexterity written down, so we don't need to put that in again. Armor class. Let's just put in the armor proficiencies here. So proficiency. I better put in armor proficiency. Unarmored, light, medium, heavy. So again, this will end up being a header, and we'll just fill in down there what we need. Shield, if you're carrying a shield, that's fine, whatever. I don't think we need a slot for it. I mean, I guess I could. It might be helpful. No, I'm not going to bother. If you have a shield, just put it in your equipment. Next, fortitude, reflex, and save. Or fortitude, reflex, will. Fortitude, reflex, and will. And then hit points. So maximum HP. And then current HP. I would normally put non-lethal in here as well, but I don't know if we even use that in 2nd edition. Temporary HP. Dying and wounded. I'm not even sure about how that works. I mean, I kind of know how it works. So, the way Pathfinder 2nd edition works is similar to how 5e works, where they make you do death saves. I'm not a huge fan of the whole death save thing, but I do kind of understand why they did it. There was nothing wrong with the previous way of doing it, but they thought that they were going to make it easier. I'm not going to put a spot for dying there. Wounded is... I don't even know what wounded is for. You know what? I'll put the stuff in anyway. Dying, wounded, and then resistances and immunities. And we'll give some space for that. And then conditions. And we'll give some space for that. Let me scroll down. There we go. All right. Going down then. Skills. Now, as far as like my character goes, I filled in some of this, but some of this until I actually fill in the base stats, I can't really do that. Now, I do have my base stats. I'm just not sure if they're applicable to the new system, so I haven't done them yet. And I may go through and do that between streams because I don't think we're going to have this one finished up. Okay, skills. And I'm going to go ahead and say acrobatics, arcana, athletics, crafting. Which again, I always emphasize to my players, have a craft, okay? Have something that you do. Deception, diplomacy, intimidation. Nice that they're all like right together like that. That's probably why they changed bluff to deception, just to get them all in one place. Those are essentially your soft skills. Make sure you always have a soft skill, okay? Do not make a character without a soft skill. Even if you're not planning to use it, you will need it someday. So lore and lore, medicine, nature, occultism. Used to be religion. I don't know why they decided they had to change that. But they have religion. Well, then what the hell is occultism even supposed to be? Performance. Religion. If I can spell it. Society. Stealth. Survival and thievery. PC says, in your case, your soft skill is fur, right? Actually, no, it's diplomacy. But I see what you did there. Okay. So that takes care of those, and when it comes to the skills, we're going to do this. First off, we're going to merge all of those. We're going to go into format. We're going to go into alignment. We're going to align to 270 degrees. Center. Done. There we go. That looks nice. Okay. Now, the rest of this is going to be languages, perception, and speed. Which means I'm probably going to move this down. Okay. So, languages, and we're going to want to leave a lot of space for that one, actually, because everyone's going to get common. Most people come with a racial language as well, and then you can have one extra language for, what did they say, every proficiency? Hold on. Languages. Additional languages equal to your intelligence modifier if it's positive. So we still have intelligence modifiers. Well, actually, do we have intelligence modifiers? Because look at this in, like, attributes. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence. There's nothing here. Are you also, again, just trained in this? Like, for example, when I look at the catfolk, you get attribute boosts in dexterity, charisma, and a free one, and a flaw in wisdom. So, is each one just a +2? You know, now that I think about it, that actually kind of makes a little bit of sense. That's how they've done everything else. So if that's the case, then I don't actually, you're not rolling anything anymore. You're literally not rolling anything for stats. You're just looking at this and you get a +2 bonus for every boost. So dexterity would, or is it a +1? I don't even know. Is it a +1 bonus? I don't know how this works. And PC says, as you walk through town, you suddenly hear a tiny voice yell, "Kitty!" Looking to your left, you see a dozen children running out of the orphan, I assume that's orphanage, with intents to pet in their eyes. Okay. Just gonna make a point. Where is it? No, it's greater. Wait, did I not take? No, it's right there. Okay, right there. Invisibility. I see an entire orphanage of children running after me. I'm just gonna go poof, gone. And yes, I am willing to crush all of the children's hearts. But that's my reaction. And by the way, it only takes one action to cast it, which means it takes about 3 seconds. So as they're running, I'm just going to say, "Zo cha es ein es cha zo," and gone. All right. I'm going to go ahead and make an assumption here that these are going to be +1 bonus or +1 boosts that they're doing. And PC says the orphans look around and start crying and your party takes a morale penalty. Okay, I am not responsible for the party's morale. I'm not the bard, okay? You want a morale boost? Bard. I'm just here to fix problems. Settings, game mastery, no, rules, player's guide. I'm gonna try this player's guide. Getting started, traits, modes of play, ancestries, backgrounds, attribute boost. Here we go. During character creation, there are 4 steps that are used to determine your attributes. Each attribute modifier starts at a +0, representing the human average. But as you make character choices, you'll adjust these scores by applying attribute boosts, which increase a score by 1, and attribute flaws, which decrease by 1. Okay, so I was right. So each ancestry provides attribute boosts and sometimes a flaw. Most give either 2 specific boosts and a specified flaw, or a free boost or a specified boost and a free boost instead of using its boost. Your background will provide you with 2 attribute boosts. Your class will provide you with attribute boosts, and then you will determine the scores. After the other steps, you apply 4 more attribute boosts to attributes of your choice to find... Wow. 4? Really? I mean, I guess so. I mean, let's think about this. One of the things that I point out to my players, because I do things differently. When I have my players roll to make their characters, I let them roll all their numbers, and I allow them 2 re-rolls, because sometimes you roll poorly. Or sometimes you want to play the high risk, high reward path. But one of the things that I point out to my players is that the base is 10, the highest is 18. At 14, your bonus is a +2, which means that 14, 15 is a +2 bonus, which means an average score for a character should be 84 points. 84 points is enough for 14 in every ability score, which is a +2 for everything. If you had a +2 in everything, that is a total of 12 bonuses. What we're looking at here, though, is you're going to get like 2 from here, 2 from here, that's 4. Your class will provide an attribute boost to your most important, that's 5. And then 4 more makes 9. Which is a little bit lower than what I was doing anyway, but it does kind of make sense. It makes sense. Okay, I'm good for it. It's weird, but I'll get used to this one. I like it. This is an improvement. This actually does streamline it a little bit. Okay, so in that case, let's go back and actually fill these in. Because actually I can do that. So Catfolk Mechanics, hit points, 8. I have a spot for hit points, right? Yeah, it's down here. Let's go ahead and do this. So maximum HP. Just gonna put 8 there for the moment because I'm not sure if I get a Constitution bonus to HP in this game. I hope so, but I don't know. And JP says, I'm going to have the Pink Panther theme song on standby for stealth antics. I mean, it would probably be playing non-stop with my character just because illusions all the time. Although, you know what? Maybe invisibility was the wrong way to go. No. Don't cast invisibility when the orphans are running. Cast mirror image. And then wait and see if any of them actually hit the right one, because anybody who doesn't is going to hit the dirt. It's so much more cruel. I have a feeling that if one of my players did that, I would classify that as an evil action. So, yeah, there you go. That was my evil action. I never claimed to be a good character, okay? I have always been neutral. Alright? I do a lot of good things. I do a lot of bad things, too. Sometimes I do bad things for good reasons. Sometimes I do good things for bad reasons. Anyway, that's going to be 8. Coming back here to look at this. Size is medium, got that. Speed 25. Haven't put speed on there yet. Attribute boosts. Dexterity and charisma. Okay. That's a +1. Oh, hold on. I'm still formatted to numbers. Format numbers to text. No, don't do that. Cancel. Try that again. Format to text. Okay, dexterity +1. And charisma +1. And it says I take a penalty to wisdom, right? Attribute flaw, wisdom. -1. Which is weird, because supposedly I have great perception, but alright. Okay, and I get 1 free bonus. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a +1 to wisdom, so I don't have a penalty. There we go. Okay, next. Backgrounds, student of magic. So, choose 2 attributes, one must be intelligence or wisdom, the other is free. So I will take a +1 to intelligence. And if the other one is free, does that mean I could pick the same one twice? Maybe not. I'll take another bonus to dexterity. Why? Because if you're not wearing armor, your dexterity is literally the only thing saving you. Prioritize your dexterity. I actually wrote this down once. I don't even remember where it is now. I should look it. I actually sat down and wrote down what every single ability score affects and what you should be prioritizing. And dexterity was like top of the list. Why is it the top of the list? Because it's your initiative, it's your armor class, it's your reflex save, it's your ranged attack modifier. Dexterity, it be important. Alright, you're also trained in your choice of Arcana, Nature, Occultism, or Religion with the Academia Lore skill. I'll get to the skills later. Right now I'm just looking at the ability scores. And then naturally as a wizard, trained in Perception. Saving throws, sure. Trained in Arcana, and then a number of things. Attacks, defenses. Do I not get an ability score bonus? I thought it said you got one from your, Oh, wait, no, up here. At the first level, your class gives you an attribute bonus in Intelligence. And additional hit points. Ah, okay, I see how we're doing this. We're doing this very similar to how Starfinder does it. Okay, we're doing it very similar to how Starfinder does it. That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, key attribute Intelligence at the first level, you get an attribute bonus to your Intelligence. So that will become a +2 as well, which means that I have a 0 in Strength and a 0 in Constitution, 0 in Wisdom, which is a pretty significant departure from what I had before, but maybe they're trying to bring characters down a little bit, and I have no problem with that. Sometimes you gotta have a bit of a reset. Okay, which means that my armor class would be... Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight those. As far as like proficiencies go, I'm not going to get anything from here for armor proficiencies, neither for that, so just for wizard. Now here's kind of a weird thing. Trained in Fortitude, I'm just going to go ahead and use numbers for these, because it's what you're going to need on the dice anyway. So trained in Fortitude is a +2. Trained in Reflex is a +2. Expert in Will is a +4. So we're getting into the numbers here. Skills, trained in Arcana. So trained in Arcana is a +2. And then I'm allowed to pick a number of additional skills is equal to 2 plus my Intelligence modifier, which is lower now. It's going to be 4 of those. But I still get some other class skills from other things. We'll do that later. Defenses, untrained in all armor, trained in unarmored defense. So it's a +2 for unarmored, and then untrained. And the rest of those. So there we go. And I'm going to go through and reformat a little bit of this later on, to see if I can make it better. However, if armor class is equal to 10 plus dexterity plus your proficiency, then I can accurately come down here and say that 10 plus 2 plus 2 is 14. Which is not bad. It's a respectable armor class. It's not going to save you later on, but starting out, it's good. As for spells, it says trained in spell attack modifier, trained in spell DC. Had this down here somewhere. Some of your spells require you to attempt a spell attack to see how effective they are, or have your enemies roll against your spell DC. Since your key attribute is intelligence, your spell attack modifier and spell DC use your intelligence modifier. What does that necessarily mean, though? Does that just mean that it's going to be a 10 plus my intelligence DC? So my spells have a DC 12 to resist? Because if there's nothing else to add there, then that means that the spell resistance for a level 9 spell is no different than that of a cantrip. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look into that later. However, I mean, that's fine, I suppose. Wizard class DC. Don't even see Wizard class DC on here. It just says right here, class DC. I'm looking. Wizard feat, skill, bonded item. Yeah, I have no idea what this whole Wizard DC thing is. I will probably have to research that later as well. As far as the HP goes, though, I'm going to duplicate this tab because I gotta go back here to the rules, player's guide. All right, let's see if we can find some of this stuff. Backgrounds, attributes, equipment. Maybe this will tell me. So the ancestry provides attribute boosts and perhaps flaws, hit points, ancestry feats, etc. Yes, that's fine. Classes. So you pick a class. Along the top are a few subpages for that class. You'll gain class feats according to your class's progression chart, which unlock powerful new abilities. That's how feats generally work. You can view all the class feats by clicking the link at the top of the page. Lastly, some classes have the option to choose a subclass at the first level. For example, the alchemist can choose the research field, the barbarian can choose an instinct, etc., etc. Starting at the second level, you can take the archetype's dedication feat instead of one of their class feats. Archetypes allow you to expand the scope of your character's class, which is what we saw up here under character creation. Archetypes, we skipped over those, now we know why. These archetypes fundamentally diverge from your class's specialties, but still fit into the theme of your class. Does not tell me, however, how the hit points are going to work. Now, see, in general, in Starfinder at least, you gained a flat number of hit points when you leveled up, and then you gained stamina points equal to whatever was noted plus your constitution modifier. If we're going to be giving the racial hit die plus the class hit die plus constitution every turn, that could go up really fast. I think that the ancestry's hit die or hit points are going to be static. Probably. At least that's my understanding so far. I could be wrong about this. Maybe they want hit points to go up really fast. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I think this is... I'm running out of time here. I think this is almost good enough, though, for a level 1 character. So I think when we get back next time, we'll start doing the different class features and feats. I'll set up the formatting for it ahead of time so we can just jump right in and start doing it. But yeah, down here, the thing that was missing is languages, which languages, since we get to choose another additional languages equal to our intelligence modifier, which, yeah, would be a +4 at the maximum, I think. But you might learn more later on. I'm just going to give this like 8 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. 8 spaces. The next spot on the sheet was speed, which is 25 feet. And then special movement. It's got a slot there just in case, and then we get into the actual attack stuff, which I would do as a separate little mini sheet. I wouldn't necessarily put it... Well, it's basically what they've done here. They've got their own mini sheet here. They've just got it formatted nicer than I do. The class DC. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And even a reminder. Awesome. Look at this. This is actually really nice. What proficiency means, what the action icons mean. This is good. Class DC is equal to 10 plus your key ability score, so intelligence, plus your proficiency. Your proficiency in class DC? What does that even mean? How can you be proficient in DC? Class DC, you're trained in the wizard class DC. Trained in spell DC. I mean, is that what we're talking about? I don't even know at this point. I don't even know at this point. Yeah, we'll do weapons at the very end. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But class DC, yeah, I'll insert that onto the page and try to figure that out too. So yeah, gonna end it right here. This has been, wow, this is so different. Some of it is better, a lot of it is worse in my opinion, and it's worse for bad reasons. Still though, we're gonna get through this. I've got most of what I think I need to do, and this is the absolute hardest part, I think. The core of the game hasn't changed. It's still a D20 game. When it comes to running around and actually playing the game, combat's still going to work like combat. You're still going to make a D20 roll to hit against somebody else's armor class. Spells are still going to be spells. They're still going to have their effects. They're going to either do damage or have an effect. They'll have ranges. They'll have timings. I mean, if you're adventuring somewhere, you're still going to make perception checks to see if you can find things. You're still going to be making skill checks to get through the environment. That part is never going to actually change. The character creation part is what changed because it is kind of the foundation for everything. Everything else is balanced around those numbers. So, yeah, as JP says, it's a lot to take in. It really is a lot to take in, but we're going to get through this. So, next week, we'll pick it up where we left off, and we'll work on it. JP says, this will drive Shadow to develop their own system now. I mean, not really, but kinda. I mean, it's basically what I've been doing this entire time. I develop modules that fit inside of these frameworks. Could I build an entire system? Yes, I could. I absolutely could build my own game by hand. I just don't see the need to. Because Pathfinder is really, really good, and I really, really like it. And I see no reason to reinvent the wheel when I can simply take what they're doing and just do that more. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to learn this, and then afterwards, going forward, I'll be able to help design modules that fit into both Pathfinder 1 and 2. That's the point of learning. So, anyway, I'm going to get off of here because I am out of time for today. This has been fun, though. I'm enjoying the learning. I love to learn. I really do. So, if you want to learn more as well, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, that way you get notified every time the videos come out. If you know somebody else who's also into tabletop gaming, especially if they're if they're already playing 2nd edition or they're trying to learn 2nd edition, come do this with me. You'll learn at the same time. Or if you already know it, you can correct me on a few of these things. Because, like, there's some things that could definitely use correction. Anyway, though, if you like what I'm doing here, leave a like on the video. If you want to leave a comment, you can do that. But if you're going to leave a comment, might you go to the Discord? I have one. It's down there. Join the Discord and come play with us. Go to the Behind the Screens channel. Let me know what games you want to play and what your availability is. As soon as I can get you into a group, we'll start. So, do that. I hope to see you there. I hope to see you back here next week when we continue working on learning 2nd edition. And until then, take care.